Gonna Brothers, Mother Brothers presents Adventure Time Movie News.
Aquaman made no money.
What a shocker!
Aquaman was like $1 billion film.
The first movie was $1 billion film.
Yeah, and this one, like opening weekend, it was like 27 million or something like that it made in its opening weekend. The fall of the DCEU has been just cataclysmic.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's amazing, and I think it's all the fault of James Gunn.
It doesn't help that Zack Snyder created the dumbest Justice League universe ever to begin with. And then James Gunn came in and was like, hey everyone, this sucks and we're done. And everyone was like, good. And he's like, but also there's 3 more movies. And we were like, oh. Okay.
And who's going to go see those? If they had kept a little bit secret what they were doing, so that these last movies weren't completely irrelevant. But when they came in and they're like, okay, we're scrapping everything. Nobody's going to be, continuing forward with us now.
Oh, you're fired.
Wait, what'd you say to me?
Well, you got swimmers here?
And then, who wanted to go see these movies?
Yeah.
You had Michael Keaton come back as Batman.
The
and
Flash
nobody
was-
went and saw The Flash.
The Flash was the last one that I cared about.
That is mind-blowing to me, that
Yeah.
nobody cared about that. And obviously Ezra Miller's personal problems maybe had something to do with that, but I think mostly it's just
Everyone knows
this universe
that
was
this universe
irrelevant
is
now.
done.
So, who cares about this movie? I mean, we went and saw The Flash. You saw Blue Beetle.
I did, and Blue Beetle was one of the best DCEU movies, and I like The Flash too. Everyone hates on The Flash.
You know what?
It's a freaking fun movie.
I thought The Flash was pretty good.
Yeah,
And the special effects are just
the
awful
special effects
at points.
are really bad, and the cameos at the end are atrocious. They are so bad.
Yeah. But the story was great.
So good.
Ezra Miller's performance was
really good.
And seeing Michael Keaton playing Batman again, I'm sorry. That was
That's
kid in a
worth it.
candy store
Yeah,
for me.
that was
I
so
loved
awesome.
it.
And the freaking the theme.
Yeah, the
Danny
Batman
Elfman
theme. Yeah.
Oh man. It was so cool.
I thought The Flash was fun.
Yeah, me too. And for the life of me, I will not ever understand why the DCEU did not use Flashpoint to reboot the movies.
Didn't we all think that's what was
That's
gonna
what the
happen?
comic book was for.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the comic books.
Yeah.
They rebooted them
Yeah.
with Flashpoint.
I can't figure out why that didn't happen.
Also, with the fall of the DCEU, we have a much more tragic fall of the MCU.
We cared so much more about the MCU.
Yeah. So Jonathan Majors is
He's out.
out. The Weekly Planet, in their famous segment, Hot Scoop or Shot of Poop. Where if the hot scoop is wrong, James has to drink a shot of poop. He's never been wrong. So, it's pretty good. He's done it 3 times, I think. But he's never been wrong yet. And they reported that in Jonathan Majors' contract, they were not allowed to recast Kang. And it's because Kang is a multiversal character, and there's a huge potential for him to be recast because there's 1,000 million different versions of him, and they could very easily recast him. That's what they said.
That's what was reported.
And if that's the case, then that's really weird and kind of awkward because
The next Avengers film is all about Kang, and maybe the one after that.
I think the one after that is more of a multiversal war thing.
That is set up by the
Because
events of
of
the
Kang.
previous Avengers film, right? So that's their problem. They've been setting everything up for Kang as the big bad, and now Jonathan Majors is out. They've got several options, and one is recast Kang as somebody else. They have recast characters at least 3 times that I can think of in the MCU. Rhodey and the Hulk, and Cassie was totally recast for Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man's daughter. So, and it's probably happened other times as well, but they have recast characters before. So if it's true that the contract says you can't recast him, then they're going to have to do something without Kang going forward, which is interesting.
Yeah, there's been rumors of Doctor Doom. I would be really mad if they just shoved Doctor Doom into the end of Phase 5 and wasted him like that. That would be dumb. I don't want them to do that.
It would be the third injustice to Doctor Doom that has been perpetrated by movies based on Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
But, so either you recast Kang as somebody else so that you can continue your original plan. And if there was a clause in his contract that said that nobody else could play Kang, there was probably also a clause in his contract that said,
And try not to do anything stupid.
that if you are, found guilty of a felony or something that, the contract is void. If there was a line like that, then I'm guessing Marvel's lawyers are maybe going to figure out a way to recast if that was a thing in the contract, and so it would not surprise me if they recast Kang. But I do think, based on Loki Season 2, there are a couple of interesting angles that they could use moving forward.
With all of this now being official with Jonathan Majors, I've heard that there was some serious reshoots with Loki Season 2 and with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania because of this.
Really?
And that makes so much sense. When they say stuff like,
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
and then immediately Ant-Man wins and Jonathan Majors loses, and there's no consequences, and everything they were setting up falls apart right in front of your eyes and makes no sense. It's because they were trying to cover up and leave their options open in case Jonathan Majors was gone.
Well, so there's an interesting line in Loki Season 2. Spoilers for Loki Season 2 if you haven't seen this. But there's a moment where Ravonna Renslayer is there with Miss Minutes at the place at the end of time where He Who Remains had been. And she says at one point to Miss Minutes, or maybe Miss Minutes says it to her, I can't remember, "We can do this without him." I thought that was a really interesting line, given the whole thing going on with Jonathan Majors, and it made me wonder if it was part of a reshoot. So that line suggests, could you maybe have Ravonna Renslayer become the time-traveling evil overlord?
I'd be fine with that.
Also, the way that Loki Season 2 ends literally puts Loki on the seat that Kang had occupied.
Right.
The problem with having Loki become the big bad of Phase 5 would be that he does it as an act of, selfless sacrifice, and he seems to be a genuinely good guy at that point. So for him to then become the big bad of the rest of Phase 5, it's a possibility maybe that he could take the Kang role, but I wouldn't like it if he went full evil again, because it wouldn't match his character arc. So
Right.
in that case, it would have to be he's doing things because he knows they need to be done in order to save, the universe. But some of the other Avengers don't like what he's doing, and so maybe there's a battle between them because they don't understand what he's doing.
That would be fascinating if they did that.
Probably more interesting than whatever they're going to do.
Probably. I've also heard one of the rumors of who they would replace the character Kang with is the Beyonder. So the Beyonder is a character that is involved during the Secret Wars comics, which is what we're leading up to with the second Avengers movie.
Right.
Okay. And the Beyonder is it reminds me of the character Jeff Goldblum plays. He's a guy who likes to just have big battles, and he just loves doing that. That's kind of what the Beyonder is, but it was just, I think, an excuse for the comic book writers to be let's
smash superheroes together and fight.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a physical form till he comes to visit Earth, and then he gets to pick his physical form, and he picks Steve Rogers. So he looks just like Captain America.
What?
So there's a small chance that if they choose the Beyonder, Chris Evans
could come back
will
to the
be
MCU
the bad guy,
playing an evil bad guy. Cool. And that seems like a role that Chris Evans would actually love.
Oh, he loves being the bad guy.
But
he loves it.
I think he would particularly love playing a bad guy that looks like the good guy that he played for so long. That in particular seems like something that could lure him back to the MCU.
Maybe it would.
That's funny.
Anyway, who knows if that will ever be the case, but it would be an interesting choice. It kind of fits Phase 5, just a big swing. Maybe it hits and maybe it's another miss like everything else since Phase 3.
Well, they have a lot of options moving forward. It'll be interesting to see which one they actually go with.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, I don't know how to finish these because
we're just shooting from the hip here.
Yeah. So I guess we're done.